This is an audio that I probably wanted to make a million times. I've tried to make a million times. And always felt like I've missed the point. And things are finally coming to a climax, which is frightening. And it's good, because we all know what the main goal is. And I'm not just saying that in a sense of like, well, I guess we are going to get to the ending, and whoop-de-doo, we're all going to lose, and some are going to win. But my point that I've always tried to express to people, and it's said in many different terms, is you don't quite understand other people's reality. Okay? And you say, oh, I know that. No, you don't know that. You don't know that. That's why all of you, although about 0.1% of the society is crazy, 0.1% of the society believes that in their own head. They think they saw that, but they just imagined it. I don't know what's wrong with them. They're on drugs. Do you realize that such a small proportion of people, now wait a second, listen to me here, actually hallucinate the things like speaking to angels that give them advice about love, that give them the correct answers about future events? Okay? We're not talking about people that say things that are weird. That's your problem, because that's your reality. And if there was one person who I look up to, and a lot of people are looking up to lately, and I don't think that's a coincidence, it's Henry Rollins. And Henry Rollins talks about when he was just a kid and he became a member of Black Flag. Now, he told stories, just like I did, on Oprah, and was proven true. And I was brought on Oprah. Why? Because the #1 best bookseller in the country was about a guy telling a story about drug addiction and living a wild life that they proved was a lie. Okay, and I was invited as a guest on that show. Why? Because this guy is the real deal, and he's not a lie. We verified his story. And I even stood up to Oprah and told her I thought she was throwing the guy under the bus. Because she was. Why? Because something I know that you don't know. The guy didn't lie in the story. Well, how would you know that? See, that's the kind of response you give. How would you know that? What makes you think you know that? Or you hang up the phone on me. You don't live in my reality. None of you do. And I don't live in yours. And I respect yours, and I will question it. Don't get mad if I question it. But you don't question it. You just say, no, it doesn't go along with what I want to believe. And Henry Rollins starts it off very brilliantly. Very brilliantly. I would love to hear him say it.
In the streets of my hometown, but a relatively soft-handed, wide-eyed boy. And so I left Washington, D.C. into the world of Black Flag, the band, and I got America 101 right in the teeth. And the first American tour I did, I started off as one thing. By the time the tour came to an end, I was quite another thing. It's like, wow, I'm 20 years old, and I saw a guy get stabbed. I have had cops plant drugs on me. I've been surveilled. I've been wiretapped. I've had religious groups protest my shows. I've had cops pull me out of the van and accuse me of doing all manner of satanic and illegal things. I have been terrified. I've been in fights. I've seen blood. I've seen desperation. And people I've met in Los Angeles are now dead. I started meeting people who would soon die of overdosing on heroin and crystal meth, suicide, and all kinds of misadventure. And so I started becoming some kind of jaded guy who, like, I know death. And it was a weird thing to be like 20-something years old and like, not everyone's going to make it. And not even trying to be macho about it, just like that was my reality.
And that's the key point right there. And that was my reality. Okay? So if I have the balls as a 38-year-old man to come out and say, I have been contacted by something, I don't know what it is, it could be an alien, yes, it could be a drug overdose, but whatever it is giving me information that seems to be divine. And for a year, I don't even know what that is. Then you have people coming up to me asking me questions privately because you don't have the courage to do it. Next thing you know, them and their family are inviting me to the funeral of the dead relative I claim I spoke to. What do you do then? Then you claim that whole family's crazy. That's the problem with this world. Now, am I sounding a little animated and a little angry? Yeah, of course. That's my job. I'm loud. God gave me the mic. And I have all kinds of riddles and little things that I always say and tell people. Now, do you know what it's like? Even without ego. Because first of all, this ego thing needs to chill out. You need ego to boost yourself up and to be loud. You know why? Because none of you are listening. For all you know, I am Jesus Christ. And if Jesus Christ did return to the earth, 2,000 years ago, they didn't have Facebook. You would know it if fucking Jesus Christ was right in front of your face right now talking to you. You know why? Because you're so caught up in bullshit and convinced that this guy has to have a Lamborghini or a bunch of money to be that person. Or he has to be good looking to be that person. If he tells me anything else, well, I mean, if he follows me around and tells me about love, he must be a stalker. All right? Now, I'm not saying that those things don't exist, but you blow it way out of proportion when you throw this word crazy around. And Dave Chappelle was brilliant. Dave Chappelle, who would have made more money than anybody ever on any television show, CBS to Comedy Central, turned it down and went to Africa. And what did you all say? Because he went crazy. No, he woke up. When surgeons who make millions of dollars a year doing brain surgery have near-death experiences, do you ever notice what happens to them? Something changes them. They quit all their jobs. They give away everything they have, and they fly to New Guinea and for free do brain surgery. They're crazy. No, something happens. I've had 4 near-death experiences. They've all happened on the same date. On the same date, unrelated. They've all happened on the same date. This number 72, the audacity to say, oh, is that because it's your birth year? No, it's because mathematically, a mathematician has done the odds that that number can show up on my pink slip, on my birth date, on the addresses I've lived at, on the times I've had house fires, on the times I've had major things happen in my life. And this is years before I ever realized it. That the odds that that number could show up in my life without some outside energy, outside force controlling it, are something like 1 in 30 billion. In other words, someone is putting the number 72 in my life. Of course, I don't tell you that because you can't believe it. Now, what is your point, Don? Well, my point isn't that I want accolades. My point is that I've been in a dispute with someone because I've learned some information before they even met that information. And I was warning them. That's all I do is warn them to be careful. I don't know what it means yet. Trust me. Even if you're faking that you're talking to some divine entity, because, by the way, I didn't know who I was talking to at first, and eventually I was told, well, you're talking to angels. Oh, is that right? So you all think I'm gullible and buy that. I bet you in any situation, I'm more skeptical than any of you. And yet, oh, Don, it must have been the drugs. Don believes that crap. No, Don's the guy that doesn't believe that crap and does. Maybe you should think about that. And that's the thing that astounds me. Because I was telling a lot of you people a lot of the things that are happening right now in front of your face. You didn't even believe me when I told you you would see 1111 on clocks or 444. You told me to get off Facebook. You told me to change the subject. You don't remember that back in 2010 and 2011. And I remember distinctively having a conversation with this imaginary God that was in my head, telling me, Don, that's the purpose. Do you know why? Because first of all, you don't shut the fuck up. And I love that. And second of all, because one day those people are going to get judged. It's a setup, people. It's a setup. The fact that I look crazy and have the actual real deal information and no one hits like buttons or comments is a setup. Just ask the small group of people, but larger group of people, all things considered, that have no doubt whatsoever that I am connected with that. And if I knew that that was happening, guess what would happen? Besides me getting famous, it would change my delivery. It would make me think I'm too cool. So I am deliberately kept away from anyone knowing or them knowing what I know. But that's not changing. Now, I had information about a certain person was going to be approached by another certain person who was going to look a lot like me, and I was even told their physical appearance. Now, as crazy as it sounds, I was told you must protect this individual because they are very important to the Grand Awakening globally. Because we all have our little circles, whether they're in Idaho or they're in Egypt. Now, I didn't believe that. Come on. I finally started believing a meteorite didn't hit the planet or Fukushima radiation didn't poison us all. And I've learned some amazing things that I can't even begin to explain. But if you're going to try to tell me that I'm actually a huge part of the participant of this event, not just a spectator, I'm not going to believe you. Well, in the meantime, we want you to go and watch this person and watch them closely, and your life depends on it. You throw yourself in front of a bus for them. This person drove me crazy. Why? Because they don't fucking believe a word I said. I could literally pick the